I'm Sam, and this is Vanna White. Thanks for the name, guys. And over the past few weeks, I have been working super hard to turn this cargo van into a tiny home. So far, we tackled the easy stuff like cutting holes in the van and adding flooring and insulation. No big. Oh. And in this video, we are probably tackling what is quite literally the most intimidating part of the entire build for me, making sure that this tiny home will work off-grid. We have power coming in. This isn't working. And as if that isn't terrifying enough, we are on the tightest timeline because in about 12 weeks, we will be embarking on a journey halfway across the country, and this van needs to be ready. This one is gonna be a doozy, so buckle up and let's get started. Well, remember that time like 10 seconds ago when I was so excited to start the interior work on this van? Houston, we've got a problem. I just decided that yesterday was a great day to give myself some stitches along the side of my hand, doing the lamest thing ever, cutting a box with a utility knife. I was super bummed because I actually already went to Home Depot and picked up all the supplies I needed to frame out this van before Dad comes next weekend to help me wire up this van, and now I literally will not be able to do any of that until he gets here because I don't get these things out until next Friday. So cool. Dad will be here next Saturday. I will hopefully be free then, and we will hopefully be wiring up this van. So
1 week later.
We're back.
I got free breakfast.
Sorry, I'm chewing. That's so gross on camera.
This is my pay for the day. I got my coffee.
Listen, he can't complain that I didn't feed him this episode because like we're clearly eating. Also, got my stitches out.
Yep. Come on, Stitch. Let's get this going.
Yeah, so my new nickname is Stitch. I will wear a Band-Aid though because the scar is pretty gnarly and I don't think anybody wants to see it quite yet. So anyway, today we are wiring up the van. So exciting. We got some inventory to do and then we're gonna get in there and start. Let's get cracking. Cheers from our bacon, egg, and cheeses. Okay, we figured out the layout.
Yeah.
So remember how I was supposed to do all this framing last week before I cut myself open? Yeah.
She didn't do it.
I didn't do it, so now we have to do framing. So we're gonna do framing along here. This van has some pre-threaded holes. So we're gonna thread some bolts through here.
I came here to do electrical work.
And now I got to do carpentry work.
I don't want to do carpentry work.
Well, too freaking
I don't know how
bad.
to cut a piece of wood.
Pony up. Let's go.
I quit.
Now I'm teaching you.
I quit. You could hold my paycheck back.
Do you see what I'm dealing with, this diva?
What do you think?
I think we gotta mic you up because you're unhinged. Don't steal my microphone this time. Every time he works with me, he goes home and forgets to give me my microphone back.
I can't help if you forget to take it from me.
This is the unit that I'm using. It's called the EcoFlow Independence Kit. It ain't cheap, that's for sure. But what I like about it is it's pretty much plug and play. So it comes with all of the wires that you need to plug into the actual unit. This is like our power hub, inverter, everything, all that fancy stuff. I'll post some videos about this in the video description because there are people who can talk about this way more elegantly than I can. All I know is we gotta get this on the wall, plug in all the things that charge it, and then there's also a separate control panel, which I'll show you in a little bit, that we're gonna plug all of the wiring into.
So are you saying that this is idiot-proof?
I mean, it's supposed to be idiot-proof, so that means we're probably gonna have a lot of trouble with it.
Now.
Yeah, we're gonna...
I'm leaving. I hear my mother calling me.
It's gonna be a day.
Mom, coming. See you later. Mom, on my way.
Is it screwed in?
This one.
Yeah, that comes off, yep.
It comes off. All of this to power this.
Ow, my bum hand. I can't lift that thing.
Lord.
I just got my stitches out.
Yeah, wait till you get my doctor's bill.
Friends, so this is the part where I tell you all to buckle up, and yes, pun intended, because this video is going to be a doozy. We are officially entering the portion of the project where I quite literally have no idea what I'm doing, which is why I'm so grateful that Dad is here to help, because he's a wealth of knowledge, and your girl's got a lot to learn about electrical systems, especially in a van. The good news, though, is that even though this was easily the most frustrating part of this process, by the end of this video, we should have a pretty satisfying progression of things in this van because this video is covering a few weeks of work, to be honest. And I know that a lot of you have been asking for progress and how we're doing and what's going on with the van, and I promise I'm definitely working as hard as I can and as fast as I can right now because we really are on such a tight timeline for this build. So definitely bear with me while I try to get these videos out. I'll be real with you, the editing alone is taking forever because of how much footage there is for this entire process. But that being said, if you want to see some real-time updates, definitely check out my Patreon account because I've been sharing real-time there as much as I can, and it's definitely been a lot of fun to ask for some advice and help and see what you all are thinking about this build as it goes along. That being said, let's jump on into it because we hit a snag pretty quickly into day one of trying to set up this electrical system, which really set the stage for the rest of this process, unfortunately. Just kidding. We got a little excited. It's our first time doing this. But we took this down because we realized if we put a panel up there, we can't reach the wires. Yeah, duh. We took the panel down. I'm going to build, I think, a custom box for the batteries and everything to sit in now that I know the dimensions because we framed it out. What Dad and I are going to do, though, right now is we are going to start running all the tentative wire everywhere. That way we can bundle it here and label it here. So when I build the box and it has the opening for everything, we can just like thread it through and be neat about it. And then all the wires will hide in this area here behind the box. So we're all learning together, right? Like we're doing this thing together. So anyway, Dad just ran to his truck to grab some tools and then we'll get in here and start looking at the wiring layout and the diagrams that we wrote up and figure it out.
What do you want?
You're unhinged and I need to record you.
Ow! Got my hair!
It's not my fault you have chest hair.
Ow!
Fix it, I don't know what to tell you. So prior to doing any electrical work in this van, Dad and I had a couple of brainstorming sessions where we pretty much made actual lists of things that we'll need to plug into the van, what power it needs, what wires it's gonna need. I learned so much about like amperage and watt hours and like basically an entire foreign language of electrical stuff for this van build, which was great, but also a lot of work. And I really actually do want to give a huge shout out to my friends over at Brooklyn Camper Vans. They're a local van build company and they allowed me to come into their workshop and like literally climb into their vans and take panels apart and look at how they wired up their stuff. Which was so helpful because honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing. And shout out to them because they do offer services for people to come in and be able to pay for them to do the wiring in their van. But basically, Oliver and Arthur over at Brooklyn Camper Van were like, you do not need that service. You can figure it out yourself. You're totally capable. And spoiler alert, they were right. So yeah, go give them some love. Like they're really, really rad. Well, that was a day. Oh, what are you throwing at me?
She hurt my hands.
He hurt his own hands. We got a bunch of wiring tentatively done. Well, Dad did the wiring. I got some framing. Once we found our groove, like we really were in it. I did. I stayed out of his way. He stayed out of mine. It was beautiful.
Perfect.
So Dad's going to come back when?
About a month and a half from now.
That's not even an option.
A month.
Maybe next week and I'll steal him. I have homework before then. My homework is I have to build a box for all of this stuff here. And then I would like to finish framing the van before he comes back. So, nice job. Don't shock yourself. Don't shock yourself.
Listen, Stitch.
These are my ceiling lights. Check it. Woo!
And they're working off a 9-volt.
Which is good. Which means that we can chain a bunch of those together and they'll work.
I see the light.
All right, on that note, bye. To Dad's man cave to do some super important planning. Check out this really legit plan that we made for the van.
Day off and she's bothering me.
We have our cabinets, our bed planned out.
Technically, the RV is done. I'm done. We're good.
Okay, first of all, it's a van, not an RV. Second of all,
it's an RV.
Second of all, the good part about planning right now is we actually just realized all the things we forgot to wire up yesterday. So that's cool.
What's this weight?
I feel better. We have a game plan now, so I think it's time to build at least this cabinet here.
I tried to hide today. It didn't work.
No, I found him in his man cave. Isn't it so cute? If you missed this project, this used to be my old workshop, and now it's his man cave, so go check it out. I think we figured it out, so back to building. So after working out the electrical kinks, it was time to figure out the electrical housing and where it was actually going to live inside of the van and how. So I did take some time in my workshop to build a box where all of the stuff is going to live in the garage. And we'll talk about this in a little bit. Actually, we'll do it now. This has been like racking my brain. So I've been trying to figure out how to like fit all of the electrical components in this part of the van, and I really for some reason thought I had way more space than I actually do. This is like kind of like the brains of the operation, and this is a breaker box. So I think what I'm gonna do is keep the batteries next to each other. Originally I was gonna stack them on top of each other and then try to stack these here, but this needs like a decent amount of breathing room because it has fans, it needs to vent. So I am going to keep these like this. Now the cool part is, as you can see or can't see, the bed's gonna be pretty tall, and that's because we have to fit bikes under it, but that gives me a lot more room to hang things. So this comes with a really cool template that I'm gonna hang on here, mark out where the brackets go, and then I'm also going to mark where I want to cut this. And now that I actually have this bump out window, I have enough room to be able to cut this entire panel and it slide right on in there and be nice and flush and neat. Really excited. Let's get this all marked up and then I can start getting things cut out and assembled. So if there's one thing that I'm learning with this van build, is that I quite literally have no idea what I'm doing, which has been interesting because I really thought that building out this van would be pretty close to like building out a house, and turns out it is not. But luckily we live in this really cool timeline where YouTube exists and you can basically find videos for quite literally anything. And one channel that I found, which I'm obsessed with the name of it, they're called Dirtbags on the Road. They built a really cool housing system for their EcoFlow power kit, and so I used their plans and modified them a little bit to fit mine. And I also used their tutorials to help me figure out the best way to install this in my van. So I will link them below this video in case anybody's interested in checking out their channel, but like, thanks guys, you were a huge help. Yeah! I probably could actually cut that a little bit more on the bottom for the wires. She cute, check this out. Nice, super profish. Woo! So I'm already noticing a common theme in this video, which is going to ring true, I think, for the rest of this build, but anything that requires me to do like a woodworking project for whatever reason took like no time at all. I literally built this entire housing system for the electrical system in a day in the shop, and just wait until you see how long the actual electrical system takes to put in, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, it wasn't a day. And look, I am well aware that a lot of this comes down to comfort level. I'm clearly comfortable building things. It's what I do for a living. I'm not so comfortable wiring up a van to be an off-grid tiny home, which is why it took me so long to do. But we're gonna talk about that whole entire process at the end of this video and what I learned and what I do differently later when we decide if what I did was right or wrong, but we'll get there when we get there. In the meantime though, I thought it might be fun to spend some time just like listening to shop sounds and being part of this build with me, because I genuinely enjoyed creating this electrical housing system for the EcoFlow, and so here we go. This thing is so tall. Well, it's also gonna be the bed, so let's not forget that.
Yeah, which is spot on.
This thing is heavy. So once all of the building was done, I actually really wanted to add some edge banding to the exposed plywood edges to make everything look nice. And my other half actually was like, that's overkill. You don't need to do that for the van. But no, I'm sorry. He's wrong. I definitely would not have felt right having exposed plywood edges in this van because I wouldn't have exposed plywood edges in the furniture I build for my house. And this is our house on wheels. So why wouldn't I just make everything look nice and neat, right? I don't know, am I wrong? Was it overkill? Like, what would you do in this situation? Let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Yeah, there we go, that works. One thing I wish I did differently in hindsight was actually commit to a cabinet color before installing these boxes into the back of the garage, because at this point I had no idea what color I wanted the cabinets to be, so I just applied an interior finish to the inside of the cabinets. I actually used Total Boat Halcyon for the inside of the cabinets, which is kind of like my go-to for heavy duty stuff. It's what I used on my shop cabinets. I'll link it below with all the materials that I used in this project as per usual. But yeah, it was really annoying to stain this thing after it was installed. I'm not gonna lie. Just pre-stain your stuff before you install it, okay? Life tips from Sam. You'll thank me later, I swear. Yeah, it looks great. Perfect. All right, so ready to frame with Dad. I mean, ready to really wire this up with Dad this weekend and see how it goes. In the meantime, it might be time for a quick snack break with the sponsor of today's video, Thrive Market. So if your week looks anything like mine, grocery shopping always sounds like a tomorrow problem, which is also a problem because I'm so food motivated. But that's why I'm so excited to team up with Thrive Market, because with Thrive, I can shop for everything I need without leaving the house, like at all. A few clicks, a quick filter for my preferences, and boom, healthy pantry staples, snacks, and household stuff delivered straight to my door. And yes, I may have gone a little overboard with the cheese snacks in last week's order, but I'm not sorry about it. Thrive Market actually had a better selection of cheese snacks than my local grocery store did, so yeah, thank you. Anyway, orders over $49, ship free, no tipping, no extra fees, just groceries showing up like magic while I pretend I've got my life together, and it has been rad. So if you're interested, now is actually a great time to join Thrive Market. With their summer restock sale, you'll get 25% off select products, plus when you go to my link in my video description, you'll get an extra 30% off your first order and a free gift. But now that my snack drawer is stocked and I'm feeling motivated, let's get back to the project. So I was gonna work outside, but Mother Nature had other plans. It is pouring out. So today, instead, I'm gonna finish framing the ceiling and getting some horizontal frames on there because Dad's coming tomorrow and we're gonna hopefully be able to actually finish wiring up this van, and it would be really helpful to have the framing done. So let's do it. So if you've been here for a while, you'll know that I love talking about how walls and houses are not straight. Well, when you decide to turn your van into a house, let me tell you, those walls are definitely not straight. I had to get really, really creative with the ceiling because it's contoured. I ended up cutting a couple of notches into all of the boards that went into the ceiling in order to get them to contour to the ribs. And this was a challenge because even though a lot of the van came with these like pre-assembled threaded insert things, the ceiling did not, and I ended up having to use a lot of self-tapping screws and construction adhesive. And there is a big debate in the van community about self-tapping screws versus riv nuts versus plus nuts versus wing nuts. I don't know. I ended up using self-tapping screws and adhesive because either way you're kind of drilling a hole into your van anyway, so why not just do it the easier way? And I haven't had any issues, and there are professional builders out there who do it the same way who also haven't had any issues, so I'm gonna take it and run with it. And in like a year from now, we're just gonna have to do an update, that's all. So I'm gonna call it a night. I feel like I got like a decent amount of framing done. I had some issues with the ceiling that took way longer than it should have, but it all came down to not having the right fastener for that. So if I had figured that out sooner, we would have been great. Dad will be here tomorrow to do some more electrical, and while he works on that, I'll probably try to finish up the bulk of the framing. And I'm excited to get this electrical system up and running and see how it goes. See you tomorrow, friends. Bye. Just waiting for Dad to get here, but in the meantime, I am gonna keep on keeping on and keep on framing this van. Let's do it. So this was the no-nonsense day where Dad was coming over so we could start putting wires in the actual power system because the roughing of the wires was done, meaning like the wires were there but nothing is actually plugged into where it needs to go. And I was really excited about it. Yay, our first wire. Thank you, Brooklyn Camper Van, because they let me go look at some wiring in their own vans so we can know what we're doing.
So when she powers it, I'm not going to be.
Wow, it comes with a lot.
Yeah.
Different fuses based on the amperage. Now, while Dad focused on getting some of those wires inside wired up, I focused on getting wires outside of the van hooked up, including the shore power, which is how you can charge the van by plugging it in. I kind of got to put the shore power in a weird spot because of where all of the components are in the back of the van. The only thing that would suck that I'm thinking of is if we had to have the side door open while charging. Nah, it'll be perfect actually. It's just gonna make it. Sweet. Really? Battery died. Woo! Hello? So this is gonna go like so. Yeah. I plug that in. It's like a surge protector hooked up to an extension cord. And there's a light on! There's a light on. It's not really doing anything because the batteries aren't hooked up yet. I just mostly am interested in seeing how this thing works.
It works with an LED.
Also, the fan's hooked up, so we could probably
Plug it in.
actually plug everything in and see if the fan's even working today. So, full disclaimer, I purchased this entire electrical system out of pocket and it was not cheap. But what I will say is it was so worth it because everything was labeled really well and I knew exactly where to plug things in. And it came with like this really great diagram to make sure everything was working. So in hindsight, I'm kind of glad I spent extra money on something that's kind of an all-in-one system. So if something goes wrong on the road, I actually will know how to fix it instead of like staring at a million different DIY electrical components that I know nothing about. And at this point, it was kind of time to see if this thing actually would work. We just plugged the batteries in and turned on the shore power. Look at that. The batteries are charging. We actually did something right. This is why I wanted a plug and play system because I don't have like, there's no guessing games here. So this is showing that everything's recharging right now. My batteries, if I kept them plugged in all night, it says would be charged in 7 hours, which is going down rapidly. So that's really good to know. I mean, nothing's hooked up to it yet, but we have power. Good job.
What?
What?
Ooh.
All right, so Dad's got to run, but I wanted to know that the system worked today. That was the goal of him coming over. So I'm gonna finish hooking it up to the rest of the stuff. Maybe try to see if we can power the fan on today, see if that works. And then he'll come back probably next weekend and hopefully we can finish wiring up everything. Or during the week. Okay, bye Dad.
Bye, Dad.
I gotta say, they label everything so nicely. Like, I know exactly where this wire goes. I know exactly like where each one of these terminals go. I know exactly where to plug this in. Like, so nice and neat. This was not a cheap investment for this van, but I feel better knowing that I actually could troubleshoot this very easily if I needed to. So at this point, your girl was feeling confident. She was like, yeah, I got this. I don't need no help. I figured this all out on my own. It's so easy. It's plug and play. But then, you know, she tried to turn her fan on and it was like a whole other situation because, well, you'll see what happens in a second. Right now, we're plugged into shore. The only thing that's really plugged in is the fan, so I want to see if it works. Oh, heard something happen. We have power coming in. This isn't working. Ah, it's the fuse. Okay, so we need a higher fuse. That's kind of cool. It tells you on the system what's wrong. So this is saying that the fuse blew for the fan. So we gotta replace that. So let's shut this off. All right, Bubba. Let's finish wiring up this van. Ready? Ready to wire up the fans? So after figuring out the whole fan sitch, which ended up working out, it was then time to add the rest of the power to make this thing fully off-grid. It's not a lot because it's a cloudy day. We got power. The amount of available time's going up too. That's fun. So luckily, Unaka Gear, who I've spoken about in some other videos, sent me solar panels for this van, and they sent me 400 watts of solar, and I actually was able to hook up each solar panel individually to the power system so that if one solar panel is in the shade and the other one's in the sun, I'm still able to get full max charge from the one in the sun. And I am super grateful to them for sending me both of those solar panels because it actually ended up charging the rest of this battery system all on its own without me having to plug in the van or start the van. Also, at this point, it was time to wire up the AC portion of the van. There's AC and DC power we'll talk about in a sec, but AC was like wiring up a house, so your girl found her groove here. Moment of truth. Let's see if we wired this up correctly. It's charging! It's charging! We did it! Good job, boo-boo, we did it! We did it! That means that all the rough wiring is done. Today is alternator cable install day, which I should have just asked Dad to do for me because FaceTime Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Because I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know why anyone lets me do any of this unsupervised. So I was explaining to Dad that for whatever reason, my van doesn't come with a particular post that I could have just plugged this into and made life easy. So now I have to like do surgery. Right, so alternator wire snipped terminal to this lug. Then the part I cut off, opposite lug. In SparkNotes version, this whole conversation was me basically telling Dad how scared I was to cut this wire because I literally only have one of them and it's an expensive wire, and I'm also really nervous about working with the truck battery because I haven't done that before. So yeah, this part freaks me out for some reason.
Yeah. You better get my cars on tape because you're gonna be working on them.
Okay, let me go do this because the more I procrastinate on this, it's never gonna get done. Give me some emotional support. So I have this really cool toxic trait where when I'm intimidated by something, I just like put it off for as long as possible, like literally as long as humanly possible. And then that task ends up taking me, I don't know, like 30 minutes to do at most. And then I'm typically like mad at myself that I waited so long to do it. Yeah, that was this task right here. This is the part I'm the most nervous about because I have to work with a car battery and I'm not very well versed in car batteries, so this part makes me nervous. My dad got electrocuted when I was in high school. Like we literally almost lost him forever. And so like anything electrical freaks me out. I know I've been freaking out like basically this whole video about electrical work, but like this is why I have this like fear of it because my dad could not be here right now if it wasn't for like a literal miracle. So yeah, so don't make fun of me for being timid around electrical work. Alternator, solar, batteries. Oh, and shore power. So with that, we should be good. Let's see if it works if I turn the van on. Got the reggae music going. It's working! I mean, nothing from solar because it's cloudy out right now. It's pulling over 60 amps of power 4 minutes till full charge. I mean, it was already almost at full charge, but... Okay, we need to talk about this for a second.
Yes.
I did it!
I had faith in you.
I did it! Look!
Oh, good. You got it mounted?
Yeah, that's the part you're impressed by? Me mounting this thing? You should be impressed by the fact that I just did all that electrical work and didn't die.
Did you start the truck?
It's pulling 850 watts. It's pulling like 60 amps of power. Look at that chart.
So, okay, so if it's pulling 60 amps, you got a 60 amp alternator in that truck. 60 amp alternator, which is overkill with the 100, but you're good.
Man, I was so proud of myself this day. Like, probably the most proud I've been of myself in a very long time. Ugh, so much fun to get the electrical done. And literally, like, now that means this van is pretty much fully off grid. So next it was just time to kind of really finish up and clean up the wiring. Cannot forget the most important tool for this project. A bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. If Long Island had like an official mascot, it would probably be a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. Just saying. So, quick disclaimer. I know that we're spending a lot of time focusing on wiring and framing up this van. The reality is that a lot of these wires are kind of going to lead to nowhere for a little bit, at least until walls start going up, because a lot of these wires are for things like our appliances or our lighting, and I can't necessarily fully install those until walls are up and cabinets are up. The good news, though, is that I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're not just going to do boring electrical work in this camper van in this video. We need some satisfying things to end this video on, and I got you. I have a couple hours, and this part of what I want to do right now feels like a momentous occasion because we're going to be completely sealing up this electrical box. Top goes on. That really means we're almost done with electrical work, so... So I still need to build a door. I'm gonna do some sort of slatted vented door sitch just to like help with some circulation in here. I had to get this on though because there's like a lot of dust falling in the system. Up here is where all of the bed frame is gonna sit. So I actually am going to be attaching another piece here that's the same height, and then another piece here as just 2 extra supports for the next cabinet that's gonna hold the top of the bed. But oh, so excited. I also officially decided what color I want to stain all the cabinetry, so that should be here in a couple days. We're moving and grooving. I was originally going to end this video on like just doing electrical and framing, but I think that I want to end this video on kind of getting the rest of the layout of this bedroom set up. I think it would just be like a way more satisfying ending, and I feel like we've all worked so hard at this point that like we deserve a satisfying ending. I don't like that word. I feel like we've all worked so hard at this point that like we've earned ourselves a satisfying ending to one van video. Just one, right? I could not in good faith leave this video after being like a negative Nancy about the electrical system like the whole time without a good satisfying ending. So I really just wanted to take some time at the end of this video to build some cabinets and to really get this garage in order so you can really start to see my vision come to life and maybe get as excited about the next portion of this project as I am. I'm not gonna lie, like I'm super grateful for all of you for being here on this journey with me because I feel like from a watching standpoint, everything I've done seems so boring and so small. So I'm really excited to kind of move on to the big stuff with you and celebrate the big wins that are about to happen. We are going on an adventure. So I want to tint those windows. It's really a problem that there's a lot of natural light coming in because that's gonna be where we're living basically when we live in this van, and I'd like for as much privacy as possible. So let's get those tinted. Also, I forgot I have all this junk in the back, so like I have to figure out a way to pile it all into neat little piles before they get in here. That's a problem for future Sam in like 30 minutes. So I realized I was so excited to get the windows tinted that I forgot to show you what they look like tinted. They look great. Actually, in case you might have noticed at the beginning of this video when I had mentioned that we had finally decided on a name for our friend Vanna White. The windows are tinted in that intro of the video. So yeah, it made a huge difference. It actually made working on the inside a little more difficult because now it's like dark in there and I don't have lights set up yet, but the outside looks great, so that's cool. Anyway, I really wanted to give Vanna a proper garage for all of the cool things that she'll be toting around. And so, yeah, I built out a couple of shelves to go next to the electrical box. And I also actually built a box for the plumbing system as well. But I'm not going to go too in depth with that in this video. We can talk about it more next time. I mean, let's be real, this video is already a doozy. And we're going to be talking a lot about showers and bathrooms and plumbing in the next video. So I need something to talk about then too, you know what I mean? But let's finish this video before we get ahead of ourselves and talk about the next video. Well, you thought that I was really dreading the electrical portion of this project. Well, I think that I might actually be dreading the project that we have to do today the most. And the reason for that is because we have been working in this beautiful open layout with this amazing little runway of space this entire time. And today I actually have to officially box in this garage and build what is going to be the end of the bed, which means we are practically cutting this van in half today, and there goes my workflow. But here's the thing, in order for us to focus on plumbing and all the things that go along with plumbing in our next video, I have to put this thing up because I have to run the plumbing through it. I have been wanting to end this video for probably 3 days of work at this point, but all I'm waiting on is the plywood that needs to come in for these cabinet doors for the electrical system. And since I'm on a tight timeline, I figured why not just keep building while we wait for these doors to come in. If you're still here in this video, watching this far along, you're a real one. In fact, please let me know, comment below and let me know if you're still watching this far into the video because I will be massively, massively impressed and I love you so much. No, but actually, if you're still here, thank you so much for hanging on. I know a lot of you have been asking for longer videos, and I think my last videos were like 15 or 20 minutes, and this one is closing in on just under an hour, so hope this one's long enough for you. It is hard to sit down and do a voiceover for like an hour-long video, I'm not gonna lie, but this one actually went pretty quickly, which, I mean, is a testament to how much fun I'm having with this build. I officially chose a finish for all of the cabinetry in the van. I wish I chose it sooner because I'm gonna have to apply some of this vertically at some point, which is gonna be a challenge, but I am going to be using Rubio Monocoat. I pretty much use their finish on like all of my woodworking projects, but I've never actually used their pre-color collection. And the one that I'm using is called Intense Black, and basically it's a black stain that is still going to let me see a little bit of the wood grain in the panels that I chose, which is nice because I like to see the wood grain. It's not going to be like the cabinets in my workshop where the wood grain is like really popping through. It's going to be more intense than that, but I like that because it's going to be a little easier to like keep looking clean, especially with bikes and shoes touching it. I'm gonna get this on and then it has to dry overnight, and then tomorrow we're going to put Rubio Pure on top, which is like the actual finish that I'm able to like wipe down. And let's do this, friends. So excited. I really have a strong vision for this van, and I don't know if I can like fully explain how much putting stain on a piece of wood like helps the vision so much. This is really just starting to feel like an actual space instead of a van now, and it really just like changed everything to get a couple cabinets up and some coats of stain and finish. Like, I'm not gonna lie, really it was at this point that I was like, oh my god, like this is actually coming together and this is becoming something more than just a van. And I'm really excited about the next steps now, and I was so intimidated about the electrical system. I feel like I dragged my feet on it a little bit, but now that I'm in this portion of the project that I know I'm going to absolutely love and be able to include so much woodworking and carpentry into, I just cannot wait until the next steps. So that has been stained. We're gonna put a final coat on that, and yesterday I was feeling a little frisky and decided to stain the inside cabinets for the garage as well. So I'm gonna put a final coat on that too, and then we're gonna get that wall up there. So that means today's the day. We are officially closing up this garage. Also, everything came for the doors, so I'm gonna do staining today, and tomorrow we'll get the doors on, and then we're gonna call it a project. I feel like this is like the longest video ever. We're here, and I'm having fun with it, and I don't want to cut out these fine details, so let's do it. Snug as a bug in a van. What happened to my nice open concept living space? Now it's a real tiny home. Screw it in. I'm also curious to see if it's square. Ooh, she's square. I'm actually shocked. But can we talk about this fit? Don't ignore that, I have to do touch-up paint. But like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, I could not be happier with that. There's literally zero gapping. Okay, let's get some finish on these cabinets. This van feels so small now. I'm about to do something I should have done before I stained these cabinets because, you know, that's just the Sam way. I'm gonna add a shelf up here because the plywood came in for the cabinet doors, and I really want to get all of the doors up for the garage at once. It's just gonna make life so much easier. But I don't know how big these have to be until I get the shelf up here that I want to put for like helmets, shoes, just random cycling accessories. So we're gonna get the shelf up, and then I'm gonna measure for the doors and get the door tracks on. I don't know if I'm more excited to have the garage done or to like have a proper end to this video yet. Either way, I'm excited, and today's the day we're gonna finish this, so let's do it. So while I build these cabinets, I want to take a minute to just keep it very, very real with all of you. I am at a point in this creative process where I think that this is the coolest thing I've ever worked on in my entire life, and I'm very excited to get it done. Literally all I can think about is working on this van. Which is great because, you know, I'm finally feeling like now that I'm past the scariest part of doing the electrical, that I'm onto the stuff that I feel comfortable with. And because I feel comfortable with it, I actually think I could get this done in the next 10 weeks and get it ready for our big road trip. I was not feeling that way in the last video, and I was definitely not feeling that way during the electrical portion of this video. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Am I dreaming and scheming and a little too hard here? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But all this being said, I do want to peel back the curtain just a little bit. I've gotten a lot of comments on some of my other videos, van related and not van related, kind of being like, why is it taking so long? What's going on with the van? Do you have any updates? I thought you're on a tight timeline. And yes, all of that is accurate. I'm on a tight timeline for sure, but in full transparency, this build is costing a lot more money than I thought it was going to, and I actually financially planned this thing pretty closely for the past year. And the reality is that yes, I know that there are sponsors attached to these van videos, but they are not even close to covering what some of these videos are costing in terms of materials for the van. So that is why I'm also juggling this project with other projects on the channel, because the other projects on the channel are also helping to pay not just for the van, but to keep a roof over our heads. So as much as I would love to be working on this van every second of every day, trust me, I'm having a freaking blast with it. I just can't because it's not fully paying the bills, and it's kind of not a side hustle. Like, it's definitely more hours than a side hustle, but I just can't focus on it 100% full time because I have some other sponsorship obligations. So yeah. Also, one other thought. Yeah, there are definitely tasks that should be taking me like less than a day to do, but I'm also doing most of this by myself, and that includes like building, shopping for materials, filming, research. So especially the filming part, it makes every project take probably 3 to 4 times longer than it should. So a task that maybe is taking me 2 days on camera would probably take me 1 day without a camera, but then we wouldn't have a video, you know what I mean? All this being said, I do think that sometimes YouTube videos make things look a lot easier than they are. I'm the first to admit that editing makes me look way cooler and way more legit than I actually am in real life. But I do promise you, I am working as hard as I can to get this thing done because this road trip deadline is so important. It's like the most important thing right now that is on the calendar for myself and my other half. And I don't have a choice. Like, this thing needs to get done. So that being said, if you're looking for a way to help me get this thing done on time, you're doing it right now by watching this video. But seriously, by subscribing to my channel, watching the videos, liking them, commenting on them, sponsors see that type of engagement and they want to work with me more often. Even better, that's free for you to do. But if you are looking for something that might not be free, you can also join my Patreon. There I post some like project sneak peeks, have some project polls, ask for things. It's great. So, but anyway, and all that being said, I do want to thank you all for being here because without you, I wouldn't be able to do any of what I'm doing right now. And I love it. Other than installing these cabinets, I didn't quite love that part of this project, but we'll get back at it. Oh, yes. Oh my God, yes. That was so annoying. Okay, we got one in. Now I gotta try to get the other one in. I probably should have put the back one in first. Listen, every new project is a learning experience, and what I learned here is that I probably should have planned these doors sooner and cut grooves into the plywood before assembling these boxes, because then I could have just made sliding doors that way, or I should have just cut these a little shorter to begin with. But the good news is I did make it work anyway, so there's that. Oh, yeah! Oh, we're in. All right. Don't get too excited though, because we still have one more door to do. It was so satisfying to see this entire garage area come together, and it really is making me so excited to complete the rest of this build now. In our next video, we're definitely going to be tackling the bathroom and the kitchen sink and the plumbing and closing up some walls. So there's still a lot of work to do, and I am beyond excited to do it. I know I have to squeeze an actual paying project in here somewhere, so get ready for that too. It'll be fun, I promise. Probably another knockoff project. I had a lot of fun with the last one, but cannot wait to get back in here and really start working on this thing and making it look like a real-life tiny home on wheels. Are you guys as excited as I am? It's not just me, right? It can't just be me. I'm gonna be real with you. This one was a doozy. Seriously, I cannot believe how much we got done in this video. Like, could I have stopped after framing and electrical? Yeah, like that's what I was originally going to do. But I'll be real with you, I am so happy that we're actually ending this video with a complete room. And yes, I'm definitely calling the garage a room done because this was a lot of work. So the exciting thing is that now that the van is officially powered up, I can start moving on to creating other rooms in this space. And in the next video, we're definitely going to be tackling the plumbing, the sink area, and also the shower, which is also gonna be a lot of work. And I am on a tight timeline, which means that, yeah, we're gonna get started on that like literally right now. So let's go, come on, what are we waiting for? We're on a tight timeline, come on, see you next time.